Hey everyone, Lori here,
And Lori.
and together
We are Lori Squared.
This month's Tech Tools tip is an extension of last month where we talked about adapting the Switch toy with the cute little duck toy that we did.
And this month we're going to be doing a business card switch. And it's just a cost-effective, easy way to make a switch that you can either use a simple business card or you can use an index card.
The reason people may want to do this, and the reason that we're featuring it for all of you to see, is that sometimes you need something quick and simple. Our kids need access to these switches, and if you don't have one readily available, you don't have the funds to buy one, this is quick, this is easy, and it's accessible for our children to use.
And the way that we adapted it today, or Lori's going to demonstrate how to adapt it using a business card and an index card, is to make it a battery interrupter. Because most of us have a battery activated something, whether it be a string of lights or whether it be a flashlight or a toy. But there are other ways that you can use it as well, but in today's feature that's how we'll demonstrate it.
Also, we're going to talk about an app. I've had a parent ask about apps that are appropriate, how to introduce a completely blind child to the iPad, what might be appropriate, and so we're going to feature an app that will be really good for a child that has no vision, because everywhere you look you see children using iPads, phones, accessing technology, and we want our visually impaired children to have the same access to technology and get that in their hands as soon as possible so they're prepared as they get older and into school.
And it's not too early to get it into their hands, and especially when you introduce it, you can introduce the iPad in a lap, and the purpose is just to get them familiar with it, get them to activate it gently, learn how to do it in a safe and appropriate manner, and use that cause and effect feature.
Always make sure too that if you're just beginning with a child, particularly a baby or a very young child, it's a great bonding experience for you and that child. So sit them in your lap and just teach them, bond with them, let them explore as you're exploring with them. It's helpful to know what the app does prior to introducing it to the child so you're familiar, and then you can help the child become familiar, but it's a great bonding experience instead of just giving it to them to explore on their own. Really give them the tools to do something together with you.
So when using the iPad with a young child, or a child that's not familiar with an iPad, sometimes you can just set them in your lap, like Lori said, and let it be a bonding experience. But you want to teach them how to interact appropriately with the iPad, and you also want them to become familiar with the app. You should give them time to explore it on their own and explain what will happen, and then model how to gently use it or use gentle touches on it. But anticipate a short attention span with these kids, and just expose them to it. It's not supposed to be something to use to babysit or to use for extended periods of time.
I hope you enjoy our little Tech Tools tip of the month, and until next time, see ya. Hey everyone, for this month's cool tech tip, we are making a simple switch, either using a index card, a business card. You can use cardstock or poster board, anything that has a thicker quality to paper. We are making a battery interrupted switch toy for simple switch use. You need reflective tape for this. You will need 36 gauge copper foiling, 20 gauge speaker wire, double-sided tape we have in here. You can use scissors or wire trimmers, and that's it. Let's get started. Alright, so we're going to get started. Today I'm going to use an index card. So the first step is just to fold it in half, just like that. You're going to take your speaker wire and cut it to a desired length. So I'm just going to cut about that much off. That off to the side. You usually can split with your fingers, so I'm just going to split it right down the middle. So it's about 1 inch to 2 inches. You can just decide. I'm going to take some wire cutters, and I'm going to just splice off the end. See how easy that came off? So you're just putting them around, pulling off. So those came off, so it exposes the wire. And I'm going to split down a little bit more because an index card is just a little bit bigger. So I'm going to use my foil tape. I already have it cut. I'm going to peel off the backing, and you want to get this part as close to the edge as possible, and you want to make sure your speaker wires are laying down flat on the card. So I'm going to just situate it right here. My wires are down. I'm going to come over to the side and just press that down. Okay. I'm going to split it just a little bit more so I can do it on this side. I'm going to take the foil tape backing off of the foil tape on this one. Same thing on this side. I want to make sure that the wires are flat. I'm going to get this as close to the edge as possible. I'm going to lay this down. Smooth it out. And I want to take the scissors and just with the bottom part of this, you can smooth it out. Just make sure those wires are really flattened down there. It just kind of helps get them laying down smoothly. Okay, so that's what that looks like. And I'm going to go to the other end and split again with my fingers. I'm going to split. I'm going to take my wire trimmers and do the same thing, just expose the ends of the wires. Now here, I have some double-sided tape, so one end is already sticky, so I'm going to stick the wires, the copper part, the plastic part, I'm going to put just a little bit above the edge and just lay those flat so the speaker wires are flat on there. Okay. Then I'm going to take a little piece of my copper foil and I'm going to lay that right on top, but I want to make sure that I cover the plastic part too. So I'm going to place the copper foiling on top of that bottom plastic part. I'm going to press down, press, okay, and then I'm going to flip it over, pull off the back, I'm going to lay that flat down. Just make sure it sticks right there. Place this one on top on this side. Just kind of press. Then I'm going to cut this to fit because it's going to fit inside my battery compartment here. So it's too big the way that it is right now. So I'm just going to trim it down. So I'm going to go on that side. See those exposed wires right there? I don't want that. So I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to come on this side and trim. So that's what it looks like with the copper. And now I'm ready to test. So I've got this folded down. This is going to be my switch. In this instance, I'm going to do the middle battery because of the way that this fits. It'll fit better in the middle compartment. So I'm just going to pop that battery out. Okay, so we're going to take this end that I just trimmed with the copper. We're going to stick it into the battery compartment. So I'm going to place it right there and pop my battery in like normal. So it's in there nice and tight. And I'm just going to test out my switch. This is going to be used as a switch. So you want to make sure these two pieces are together. And I'm just pressing to make the switch and the lights are activated. I also found out because copper is a little bit more costly, you can use, we've tried this one out, this is one made out of a business card, and you can use that reflective tape instead of the copper foil for this step. So again, same thing, you're just putting it into the battery compartment. You're gonna pop your battery in there and then just press. So it does work with both the reflective tape and the aluminum foil. That's a little bit more cost effective. This month's app is called the Cause and Effect Sensory Soundbox. It's by Cognable and is 99 cents in the App Store. This is a great app to encourage children that have complex learning needs such as autism or a visual impairment, or the child can be completely blind, and this is a great one to begin play with and just learning how to touch and explore a screen. It teaches the children how to drag their finger around the screen and makes various sounds. It's called the Soundbox. Once you get into it, there are various types of screens. There's one called the Wind Maker. The child has to drag their finger higher for a more intense sound, or lower when it decelerates. Anytime you want to get out of one, even if they just touch, it makes sound. Anytime you want to get out of this particular scene, there's a little X down at the bottom and it brings you back to the main screen. Grayscale, you can drag your finger higher on the screen for a higher pitch sound. Again, lower is decelerate, left and right. Go back to the main screen. There's one called Downpour. This is linked to up and down movement. There are 18 scenes available between 2 pages. Along the top you will see there's sounds, a palette which changes the background color, help and settings. So for sounds, you can mute the sounds. Go back. I'm going to take that out. In the palette, a series of various colors will show up down here, and you can change the background screen. So if you wanted it white on the back, it would change the background. Again, if I didn't like that, I could change it to black. Whatever color makes it pop out a little bit more for the child, you can change. Settings helps control so you could do single finger touches, have that on or off. Tap anywhere, you want that on because you want the child to have the ability to tap anywhere. There's visual options that you can play with on here, and it is also a switch activated, accessible app. And then you just go back to the main screen, and that's it. In today's app, you'll see a completely blind child using this app.
Doop, 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 doop.